Tonight, held up at the quarantine hotel.
I spoke to a few people and they said that the check-in is at 3 p.m. and it was like 10:30 a.m. at that point.
Travelers coming into Pearson complaining of long waits and access to food. And no game tonight for the Raptors as the league calls off the Raps versus Bulls showdown due to its pandemic protocol. Plus,
I mean, besides drawing on paper, now I get to interact with my clients. That's one of the main reasons I became a tattoo artist, hearing their stories.
Tattoo shops starting to reopen in some regions. How one parlor in Markham is dealing with the demand and helping their own staff as well. Good evening, I'm Marivelle Tarouk. We begin with breaking news out of Hamilton. A man is dead and a young woman is critically injured in an industrial area in the Stony Creek area. Police say they were called to Arvin Avenue and Hilton Drive just before 7:30 p.m. for reports of a female in distress. Paramedics say they found a man without vital signs. He later died on scene. A 25-year-old woman was rushed to hospital in life-threatening condition. Homicide detectives are investigating. No information was given on the circumstances of the incident and whether police are looking for a suspect. New quarantine rules for air travelers have now been in force for almost a week, part of the Trudeau government's plan to contain the spread of new COVID variants. But as Talia Ricci explains, while many travelers may have been ready to meet the requirements, approved quarantine hotels may not have been ready for them.
To book this hotel was a six-hour phone call.
Guests of Toronto's quarantine hotels say their problems began before they even checked in.
I spoke to a few people and they said that the check-in is at 3 p.m. and it was like 10:30 a.m. at that point.
But it was what they experienced when they arrived that shocked them most, including being asked to wait in rooms with dozens of other travelers. Sarah Vinero was returning from her teaching job in South Korea.
I've interacted at that point with more than 50 people. So what was the point? If I had just gotten a car at the airport, I could have driven to where I was going to do quarantine originally, and I would have had to interact with maybe one additional person.
Vinero was a guest here, one of 11 hotels designated as mandatory accommodations in the Toronto area. At others, there were also complaints about access to food.
I waited till 10:30 very, very patiently for my dinner, but it never showed up.
It seems criminal to actually expect people to pay this. I must have tried at least a couple of hundred times to try and call someone, get someone on the phone. Eventually, I had to go downstairs just to talk to someone, and that's where there were also several other guests that were there, extremely frustrated. They had not gotten any food, they had not gotten any water.
I understand that.
Other guests shared similar stories on social media. A knowledgeable hotel industry source told CBC News that the main issue is too many guests, the volume of travelers several times higher than expected. In a statement, the Public Health Agency of Canada says it's in daily contact with hotels to support them, and that government employees and security are stationed at the hotels to enforce safety measures.
I feel that I've been extorted and falsely imprisoned under the guise of public safety and public health.
Vinero says if she could do it again, she'd take the fine and quarantine on her own. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
The province reported just over 1,000 new cases today. 20 more people with COVID-19 have died. Of the daily cases, 259 were reported from Toronto, 201 from Peel Region, and 86 in York. 627 people have been hospitalized with the virus, 289 of which are being treated in intensive care units, and 185 are on ventilators. 2 high-rise apartment buildings in Toronto aren't getting any mail. Canada Post has halted delivery for weeks, saying residents are endangering letter carriers by not wearing masks. Mike Crawley reports.
Hundreds of people live in these buildings on Graydon Hall Drive, near where the DVP meets the 401. They haven't been getting mail for 3 straight weeks, the result of a decision by Canada Post.
But this is very bad rules, like Canada Post cannot come because there's so many people that are waiting for their documents. There's so many documents we are waiting. Government documents now, plus now we have to file our tax.
The problem? Mail carriers have to come inside to make deliveries, and Canada Post says too many residents are not wearing masks. A spokesperson calls this a safety risk and adds that Canada Post has advised the building's management of the issue.
In those circumstances, it is entirely appropriate for the employees to say, I'm not going to put my health at risk simply to do my job. And no Canadian employee should ever have to put their health at risk to do their job.
Building management has clearly posted mandatory masking signs, and people who live here dispute the claim of a safety risk.
We wear the mask. We wear the mask in the common area, in the elevator, in the hallway, everywhere. Everybody's wearing the mask. I didn't see anybody who's not wearing mask.
To get their mail now, residents have to travel to this Canada Post sorting station. It's more than 5 kilometers away.
How do you know we have a mail to pick up? That means you have to do a periodic trip there just to check and see, do we have anything to pick up or not? And again, that's not fair.
Companies that deliver packages haven't stopped bringing shipments inside, and this Purolator driver says the people he sees wear masks.
Feel comfortable going inside this building or also in the other building, and 5 days a week I'm delivering to this area.
This Canada Post sorting facility in Mississauga was the site of one of the GTA's largest workplace outbreaks of COVID-19. More than 270 employees tested positive for the coronavirus last month, and 1 staff member died. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Toronto.
Tonight's game cancelled after the Toronto Raptors continue to deal with positive COVID-19 cases. More on how this could affect the rest of the already shortened season from Matt Cullen of CBC Sports. That's a little later in the show. A protest was held today in solidarity with a Toronto carpenter who has been building small shelters for people living in encampments this winter.
Us people are serving John Tory a notice and saying that his actions are harmful, they're violent, and for him to kind of pick on this individual when really what's going on is it's bad policies.
It took place outside of Mayor John Tory's condo near St. George and Bloor. Many people lined up, physically distanced, to deliver notices to Tory, asking the city to ban encampment evictions and build affordable housing. The protesters say they support Khalil Seavright's, the carpenter, creating small structures for the homeless to live in. On February 19th, the city filed an application for an injunction for Seavright to stop his work. In a statement released today, the mayor said, I want to assure people that the illegal wooden structures are only removed if one is abandoned or someone living in one accepts services and comes inside. The injunction simply asks that these illegal and unsafe structures no longer be placed in parks. People living in shelters have been added to Phase 1 of Ontario's vaccine rollout.
Got this confirmation from the province over the weekend. So we've worked right away at Toronto Public Health with our Shelter Support and Housing Division at the city, with our healthcare and hospital sector partners to start preparing to roll out vaccines into shelters this week.
Toronto Public Health says they will work with the shelter system to determine the locations with the highest risk of an outbreak. That's where they will begin the vaccinations. The move comes as larger amounts of vaccines are arriving in the city. The city currently has 10 outbreaks in shelters and about 49 cases involving variants of concern. And starting tomorrow in York Region, residents 80 years old and over can book an appointment to receive a COVID-19 vaccine. Residents can make an appointment online. In a press release, the region says no walk-in appointments will be available. There are 3 locations where these shots will be given: in Vaughan, Markham, and Newmarket. Halton police are asking for the public's help to find a stolen pickup truck that had a 4-month-old puppy inside. Hudson, a Great Pyrenees puppy, was inside the truck at the time of the theft. Police are looking for a 2015 black Toyota Tacoma with the license plate AY88007. The truck was stolen from a supermarket parking lot just before 10 a.m. on Friday. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. And there's a live look at Parliament Hill tonight. Tomorrow, Ottawa is expected to announce details on booking COVID vaccine appointments for eligible residents, including those aged 80 and older. And pop-up vaccination clinics will open next Friday. Let's check in with Sophia for the weather forecast. It was just another really beautiful day today, Sophia.
Yeah, I love it when you know it's almost spring in the GTA and it's 4 or 5 degrees and people already have their windows open to get a little bit of the warm air, and you know we're itching for it to come. Monday, March the 1st, first day of meteorological spring, our forecast reveal for spring here at the Weather Network. But it's going to feel a lot more wintry for many of you. We're talking really blustery winds, blowing snow, and plummeting temperatures. It's not bad into the overnight, but let's talk about the temperatures for you Monday first, then we'll talk about the snow and the wind. Okay, -6 as you get the kids ready for school in the morning. You want to dress them really warm though. Watch the difference between your afternoon high and the 12-degree drop in just a few hours into the evening. Well, what we'll feel at -18 with the wind chill. You have a gusty northwesterly wind to thank for this, blowing snow around. You want to prepare for any reduced visibility on any of the major roadways, especially that Highway 21 stretch between Sarnia and Owen Sound, because you will have the bands of lake effect snow off the Georgian and the Huron shores. We're not getting a ton of snow. It's 2 to 5 centimeters, but it will be blown around quite a bit. Now, there is good news, though. Finally, in the long-range forecast, I will have some nice days to talk about when we see you in a few minutes.
Okay, well, we'll see you then. Thanks, Sophia. The Toronto Raptors were supposed to play against the Chicago Bulls tonight, but the NBA postponed the game because of its health and safety pandemic protocols. It's the first postponement for the Raptors this season. Matt Cullen from CBC Sports joins us now. So, Matt, what more do we know about why tonight's game was postponed?
Well, that's right, Marivelle. No Raptors game tonight, and that's because the league has announced that there are positive tests within the Raptors organization. No specifics, but that the Raptors are currently isolating, and they're also being tested twice a day. The official reason for tonight's postponement is actually because the Raptors did not have 8 players available to them. That's the league minimum. Now, if we go back a couple of days ago, remember on Friday, the Raptors were without their star player Pascal Siakam, their head coach Nick Nurse, and also 5 assistant coaches. They were all placed in the NBA's health and safety protocol. So this certainly, Marivelle, is a step back and a setback for the NBA that they had to step in and postpone this game. It's already the 30th time this year that the NBA has postponed games. The big question, though, going forward is, when will the Raptors be able to play next? Well, they have games currently scheduled on Tuesday and on Thursday. Then they'll have a bit of a break because the NBA plays its All-Star weekend, and the Raptors aren't on the schedule until March the 11th. But the games this week, 2 of them, will certainly be ones to watch out for if the Raptors have enough players that are healthy and available to them. One option could be they could look to their minor league affiliate, which is the Raptors 905. Normally they play in Mississauga, but this year they're playing in a very unique NBA G League bubble season that's in Orlando. That happens to be about an hour-and-a-half drive away from Tampa Bay, where the Raptors are playing this year. They chose to play in Tampa Bay, Florida, because of the current travel restrictions due to the pandemic. So they could look to their minor league affiliate, again, to try and find 8 possible players. But this, of course, will all come down to the contact tracing and who is available. Certainly a concerning development for the Raptors and their fans here tonight.
Matt Cullen with CBC Sports. Thank you. And the Toronto Blue Jays played their first spring training game today, beating the New York Yankees 6-4. They faced off in Tampa, where the Jays will be based this season because of COVID protocols. They will open their regular season on April 1st, once again facing the Yankees.
It was really exciting to hear that I could come this weekend to get it finished.
Those waiting to get a tattoo or a new piercing are in luck, depending on where they live. Tattoo parlors are starting to open up in some regions of the province. We visit one tattoo shop in Markham that's also helping their staff stay afloat during the pandemic. Coming up. One of the businesses hit hard by COVID-19 is the tattoo industry. They remain closed in Toronto and Peel region, which remain in lockdown. But since York region moved into the red control zone last Monday, the doors have reopened for one tattoo shop in Markham. Dahlia Ashry has more on their efforts to stay afloat.
This tattoo shop in Markham has finally reopened its doors after being closed for months because of COVID lockdown. Now it's a chance for tattoo artists to pick up the needle and get back to the drawing board.
I mean, besides drawing on paper, now I get to interact with my client. That's one of the main reasons I became a tattoo artist, hearing their stories.
According to one research firm, about 1/3 of Canadians have a tattoo. Kristen Chen is one of them. Her first tattoo session was in August, and her second session got canceled because of COVID lockdowns.
Just kind of waiting on the sidelines and taking care of it as much as I can until we could continue. And it was really exciting to hear that I could come this weekend to get it finished.
This doctor drove 2 hours from London, Ontario to get his tattoo completed as well.
We are finishing up a tattoo that we started back in November, December. So it's actually the Greek god of medicine that we're putting on my arm.
Chronic Ink Tattoos has 4 locations in the GTA. All but the Markham shop are closed because of COVID lockdowns. But the store says they've found a way to support their staff.
If they needed a top up on CRB or EI, anything emergencies, we had the full ability to give them interest-free loans.
Since the Markham location has reopened, they've been following COVID safety protocols. Chairs have been spaced apart and sanitization stations put in place. Ding says they've mainly seen an increase in people who want to get piercings. Ian Razzle is a body piercer here at Chronic Ink Tattoos. He says more people have been getting piercings since doors have reopened. And with masks on due to COVID safety protocols, he says anything behind the masks, like nose or lips, can't get pierced.
I also have people who need help with nose piercings. They want to change out the jewelry or they've got a problem with it, and I can't do anything other than give them the best advice I can while just sort of describing it.
He says more people are coming in to get belly button and nipple piercings. Razzle says he's also seen some mask-related injuries.
The string gets caught in things like this. This is well healed, but gets tangled up really easily and snagged. Just be gentle. Don't be like me and pull really hard when it gets stuck. Have your jewelry go flying across the room.
Dahlia Ashry, CBC News, Toronto.
Donald Trump made his first major appearance today since losing the U.S. presidential election. Trump made it clear to the Conservative Political Action Conference that he still leads in the Republican Party.
I'm going to continue to fight right by your side. We will do what we've done right from the beginning, which is to win. We're not starting new parties. You know, they kept saying, he's going to start a brand new party. We have the Republican Party. It's going to unite and be stronger than ever before. I am not starting a new party. That was fake news.
Trump lashed out at congressional Republicans who voted for his impeachment. He is vowing revenge by running pro-Trump candidates to run against GOP incumbents in the primaries. Trump also repeated his electoral fraud falsehood. If his legal difficulties don't stop him, Trump is widely expected to run again in 2024. If not, he will still be a major force in choosing the party's next presidential nominee. Myanmar's security forces unleashed heavy violence on protesters today, the bloodiest since the movement against the military takeover began. The UN's Human Rights Office says 18 people were killed, accusing police and soldiers of using lethal force against peaceful protesters. Videos showed people rushing to assist the wounded. It comes 4 weeks after the military seized power, detaining the democratic government's leader, Aung San Suu Kyi. She is scheduled for a court appearance Monday.
Food is one of those things you really want to smell and touch, and you want to put it in your mouth ultimately, right?
A restaurant show aims to create engaging and hands-on experiences virtually. How they're doing it after the break. Coronation Street star Johnny Briggs has died at the age of 85. Briggs played the role of Mike Baldwin on the famous British soap drama for 30 years. His family says he died peacefully after a long illness. Briggs was born in southwest London and embarked on a show business career when he was just 12 years old. He was awarded the British Soap Award for Lifetime Achievement in 2006. Last day of February, Sophia, so how is March going to come in?
Well, the first week, not so bad after you get past Monday. Look at the temperatures for the evening. What feels like minus 18, you have this cold front to thank. After it passes in the afternoon, you will see temperatures just plummet down the well. It will feel very, very chilly, but things warm up quite nicely. The cool down, though, thanks to a really gusty northwesterly wind. I wouldn't be surprised if the wind warnings push farther south into the GTA as well. We're talking 60, 70, 80 kilometer-an-hour winds, but then winds become our friend a little bit later in the work week. Have a look at Wednesday to start, though, folks. It's going to be glorious. We'll actually feel like the positive digits. Look, in Pickering, feels like 6 degrees in Burlington, rather. Here's Pickering over here. And it actually continues for a couple days into the work week. So there is light at the end of the tunnel, finally. I can't remember how long it's been since we've had a really nice 7-day forecast like this. The temperatures get a little bit cooler into the weekend, and there are some flurries to talk about, but you know, it just goes to show what a mixed bag March is, especially this first week is really indicative of that. Really big swings, about 10 to 15 degrees between just a couple days. But you know what? Enjoy it when you can this week, especially Wednesday, if you can get out and enjoy this first big week of March. Yeah, meteorological spring tomorrow, and it will definitely feel a lot more like winter for many of you around the GTA. And just a reminder again, you want to plan for reduced visibility on any of the roadways, especially into the afternoon and the evening, as we will have blowing snow and really, really blustery winds. Maribel.
Yep, that's good stuff to be aware of ahead of that snow coming. Thanks, Sophia. A Toronto tech company says the future is now. It's making it possible to enjoy the experience of eating at a restaurant once again.
We're using augmented reality. We're using human holograms so that people can be beamed essentially into people's homes or offices, wherever they are, across the globe, and have that experience.
A holographic host will be in your home for the Restaurants Canada show. This company makes the experience immersive by using technology to recreate a virtual restaurant. The RC show highlights the food service and hospitality industry. Its events are happening online now until March 3rd. And that's our show for you tonight. Before we go, though, a big congratulations to CBC's Schitt's Creek. The show was a double winner at the Golden Globes tonight. It won for Best Musical or Comedy Series. And Catherine O'Hara won Best Television Actress in a Musical or Comedy Series. Just another in a great run for this show. Have yourselves a great night, everyone, and stay safe. Good night.